Hey guys, hoping all is well with everyone. So in this video we're going to be starting to look at chapter 3. So this is lesson 3.1 entitled Number Comparing to Order 6-Digit Numbers. So what we're looking at in this section is being able to look at a series of 6-digit numbers and ranking them from least to greatest as well as greatest to least, but also being able to determine what values are higher than other values, what values are less than other values, and just being able to kind of order them in a certain fashion. So with the step in question, it says that these tables show the population of 10 cities. So the cities that we're going to be looking at in this table are Billings, Montana, Cary, North Carolina, Everett, Washington, Fargo, North Dakota, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Lansing, Michigan, McKinney, Texas, Palm Bay, Florida, Springfield, Massachusetts, and Sunnyvale, California. So the first question that they ask you is, how can you figure out which city has the greatest population and which city has the least population? So what we can do here is, because all of these values are to the same number of digits, being 6, these are all 6-digit numbers, what we can look at and compare is the highest place value, which would be the 100,000s place. Unfortunately, that's not going to do us much of a justice because they're all the same. All of these populations have a place value of 1 in the 100,000s place. So it doesn't really help us determine anything from there. But what we can do is kind of go with that idea to the next highest place value, which would be the 10,000s place. So remember, if we have, let me tape it here, so we have H for 100,000s, TH for 10,000s, thousands, hundreds, but tens here, and then ones. Okay, so that's going to be really important for us to remember and recall that if we start at the far left, which is the 100,000s place, and they're all the same, we can go to the next highest place value, because that will help us to determine which values are the highest. So what we're looking for here is which of these cities have the highest 10,000s place value. If there's a tie, we can continue the trend here and go till we figure out which city has the highest population. So what we'll do here is we'll go in the 10,000s place, which is the place that is in question here, to find the highest population, and we'll just underline the highest one that we find. So 5 is greater than 1. So right now, Cary, North Carolina is the highest with 150, but we'll see if anything higher comes from 5. So we have 0, 1, 0, and again, these are all in the tens place. 1, we have a 6 here. So this 6 right here is going to be the highest in the 10,000th place so far. And if we continue, we see that this is 0, this is 5, and this is 5. So the highest place value is going to be in McKinney, Texas, with 6 in the 10,000s place. So we have 162,898 individuals as a population. There's no other city among these 10 cities that is going to be higher than that. So that is going to be McKinney, Texas. Alright, now for the least population, we can kind of approach it the same way. One of the biggest things I kind of want to mention here that we don't want to do is start in the ones place. Because the ones place is the smallest place value, there are place values above it that would easily outrank the significance of the ones place value. So because the tens place is even more important than the ones place. So we always want to start from the farthest or the highest place value and work our way to the smaller ones. So we'll do the same thing here, but in this case what we're going to do is we're going to look for the smallest place value in the 10,000s place. Now again, if there's a tie, we can go to the next place. I'm going to use red for this one. So we have 1, 5 is greater than 1. We have a 0 here. Okay, so that's the lowest place value that you can have in a single place value. So any zeros, I'll go actually ahead and underline. Okay. So we have 3 candidates for the smallest, or the city with the least population. That's going to be Everett, Washington, Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Springfield, Massachusetts. But as you can see, there's a tie in the 10,000th place. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the 1000th place and find the smallest number in that place value. That will tell us that out of the 3 possible candidates is the smallest population. So just in that first step, what you will notice is that we eliminated our candidate choices for the smallest or least population from 10 to 3. So that's pretty significant in just one place value. Alright, so let's go ahead. I'm going to change colors here. I'll do green. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the thousands place value for these 3 candidates. So we have 8, 5 is less than 8, and 7. So between the thousands place, we have 8, 5, and 7. The lowest one is going to be that 5 in the thousands place, which is going to be Green Bay, Wisconsin. So because the lowest place in the 10,000s place is going to be 5, that Green Bay, Wisconsin is going to be the smallest population, because no other city, even the other 2 in question, are not going to be any lower than that, because that 5 is the smallest possible place value in the thousands place in all of these city population numbers. Okay, so our final answer is going to be Green Bay, Wisconsin. Okay, now it says, does Springfield or McKinney have a greater population? How could you use this number line to help you decide? Awesome question. So what we're going to do here is, you always want to kind of, especially when you're given a significant amount or a large group of numbers that you need to decipher information between, when you're asked a specific question, it's always good to kind of zone in or kind of pick out those in question, because it will make it seem a little bit less overwhelming. So let's look at the 2 cities that were in question here. We have Springfield and we have McKinney. So I know it doesn't seem like a big thing, but it's kind of neat that they're in the same column. But again, we can go ahead and kind of bring out these numbers to a separate area to allow us to kind of compare them more directly. So we have McKinney, Texas, I'll keep it in blue, with 162,898, and then I'll change the color and go to Springfield, Massachusetts, to 154,341. Okay, so now the question is, which one has the greater population? And you can use the number line to help you decide. So let's go ahead and look at this in 2 different ways. First, we'll look at it from a numbers point of view, which we did in the very first part. So what we're going to do here is we're going to compare the highest place values, and then the one that is higher in each situation, or each place value that will give us the most detail, we'll be able to decipher which one is greater. So what I mean by that is, in this case, the 100,000th place isn't too helpful for us, because the 100,000th place is the same for both McKinney and Springfield. But what we can do, just like last time, is go to the 10,000th place, and we see that 6 in the 10,000th place is higher than 5 in the 10,000th place for Springfield. So that's going to tell us right there that McKinney, Texas has a greater population. Okay, so that's one way that we can look at it. We can look at it by a means of place value. We can also look at it by a number line perspective. So what I'm going to do here is, each of these lines, these vertical lines, hash marks between the 100,000 and the 200,000, are an interval of 10,000 apart. So we can go ahead if we wanted to, and let's see here. So this is 110,000. This is 120,000. This is 130,000. This is 140,000. This is 150,000. This is 160,000. So as you can see, there's an increase of 10,000 per hash mark. So that will allow us to kind of visually separate the two numbers by a significant distance. That way they're not on top of each other. Okay, so we have all of our intervals identified. So what we're going to do now is kind of roughly estimate the position on the number line for these values. So 162,000 for McKinney, Texas. We find 160, which is right here. It's about 1/5 through, because it's 2,000. 162,000, so it's about 1/5 of the way towards 170,000. And then we go to Springfield with 154,341. So that's going to be almost about halfway between 150,000 and 160,000. So we see here that this is McKinney, Texas, and we see that this is Massachusetts. So this would be able, again, to visually help us see that McKinney, Texas has this larger population, but as we have seen, there's another way that we can do it with place value. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at this one. So it says, which cities have a population that is greater than 120,000? This is a good question. So one way that you can approach this is the same way that we've kind of been approaching which populations are the greatest and least and things like that. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the 10,000s place again. Now the reason we're not going to be looking at the 100,000s place is because all of them have a population of at least 100,000. So the significance of the 100,000s place isn't detailed enough to help us understand the question at hand with if a population is greater than 120,000. That's where the 10,000s place is going to help us. What we're going to do is, I'm going to use yellow here, and I'm going to go to the 10,000s place specifically. If there's a 2 or higher, then that means that this city that I will be underlining will have a population that is at least 120,000. So greater than, in this case, is also going to mean at least 120,000, okay? So we'll go ahead and we'll underline any 10,000s place that is 2 or greater. So we have 1 that's less than 2, 5 is greater than 2, we'll underline that. We have 0, 1, 0, 1, we can underline the 6 here. 0 is less than 2, and then we have 5 and 5. So the cities that have a population that is greater than 120,000 are going to be Carry, North Carolina, with 159,769. We have McKinney, Texas, which is going to be 162,898. Springfield, Massachusetts, which is going to be 154,341. And then Sunnyvale, California, with 151,754. Okay, so that will be our answer for that question. So So he looked at the digit in the 10,000th place, which is kind of the approach that we we kind of looked at as well. So let's go ahead and go to this next question. So this is the step-up question, which is kind of a little bit of higher order thinking. What we're going to do here is we're going to compare two cities one at a time, and we're going to determine which one has the greater population, okay? And then these are what are known as inequality symbols. So the one where the crocodile's mouth is kind of facing to the right is less than, and then the one where the crocodile's mouth is facing the left is going to be greater than, okay? So again, what we want to do here as a form of strategy is we want to start by making sure that we limit our choices by just putting the two numbers or the two populations in question and then comparing them directly. So Sunnyvale is 151,754 versus Lansing, which is 115,056. Okay, so again, what we can do, since the 100,000th place doesn't give us enough detail because they're the same, is we'll look at the 10,000th place and see which one is larger. So as we see, Sunnyvale has a 10,000th place of 5, and Lansing has 1. So because of that, Sunnyvale is going to have the larger population. Okay. Alright, so let's look at Billings and Fargo. So Billings is going to be 110,263. Oops. And then we have Fargo. 118,523. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and use that same strategy, but this time what you're going to notice is that both the 100,000th place and the 10,000th place aren't going to be significant enough for us because they're exactly the same in each of the two cities. So we can continue the trend, and what we'll do is we'll go to the thousands place to determine the larger population. So this has a this has a thousands place of 0. This one has a thousands place of 8. So this one is going to be larger because the most significant place value is highest in Fargo. Okay? Because 8 is greater than 0. Alright, let's look at Everett and Palm Bay. So we have Everett is 108,010. And Palm Bay is 107,888. Okay, so in this case, again, both our 100,000th place and our 10,000th place don't serve a justice enough in detail to allow us to determine the higher or greater population. So we'll look at the thousands place, which we will look at and see that 8 in the city of Everett is higher than Palm Bay. So for that, it's going to be that Everett has the larger population. Okay, let's look at Mckinney and Carry. So Mckinney has 162,898. And then Carry has 159,769. Okay. So again, if we, in this case, we start off with our 10,000th place, that is going to be enough to find a difference because those values aren't the same. So here we go to the 10,000th place of McKinney and we see 6. We go to the 10,000th place of Carry and see 5. And Carry is going to be less than the population of McKinney because 5 is less than 6. So another way that you can think about it is McKinney is a larger population because 6 is greater than 5. So we'll go this way. Okay. Alright, let's look at the next page here. So this page is using the same idea as the previous page, just kind of a different population of cities, and we're going to be using the table to answer the questions 2 through 4. So let's go ahead and look at number 2. So which one has the greatest population? So again, we see that if we look at the 100,000s place in this situation, all of them are 1. So again, it doesn't really do much of a favor for us if we look at the 100,000s place. So we'll start by looking at the 10,000s place and see if that provides enough. Now here we see 7, 3, we see another 7, so 7 so far is the highest, and 1, 5, and 2. So 7 is the highest, but since there's 2 cities that fall with 7 in the 10,000s place, we need to go another place value to the right to be more specific. So I use green here. So if we compare Cape Coral, Florida and Sioux Falls, South Dakota in the thousands place, we'll see that 5 is greater than 1. So Cape Coral, Florida has the greatest population. Okay. Okay, now which city has the least population? So again, we can kind of use the same strategy. This one's only a little different because what we're going to do, I'll use purple for this one, is we're going to look at the 10,000s place again, but we're looking for the smallest value in the 10,000s place. And the reason for that is because we want the smallest place value that is lower than any other to determine the smallest population. So we have 7, 3, 3 is small, 7, 1 is our smallest so far, 5 and 2. So if we look at the 10,000s place, the smallest place value is going to be at High Point, North Carolina. It's kind of ironic. With that 1 in the 10,000s place indicating that that is the lowest population. Okay, so we have High Point, North Carolina. Okay, so if we write the population of each city and then determine which one is greater or less than in comparison to the other city. So let's go ahead and type out each of these. So Charleston, South Carolina is 132,609. I'm just going to go ahead and type all of these in really quick just to save a little bit of time. Sioux Falls is going to be 171,544. Kansas City is 151,306. Cape Coral is 175,229. High Point is 110,268. Sioux Falls is 171,544. Lafayette is 127,657. Charleston is 132,609. Charleston again is 132,609. Cape Coral is 175,229. And thank you guys for bearing with me here. I just want to make sure we have all of the numbers more visibly able to compare. So Kansas City is 151,306. And then High Point is 110,268. Okay, so I know that that seemed like a lot of kind of time consuming of a strategy, but it helps us to, you know, visually see the numbers more closely together than as in a column in a table. It may benefit us, it may not in terms of the significance of what we're comparing, but I think having the numbers close is a little bit helpful. So again, we're going to use the same strategy that we have all up to this point and just compare the 10,000th place, which one is higher, which one's lower, and then using the correct inequality symbol to make this statement true. And if again there was a tie in the 10,000th place, all we have to do is look at the next thousandth place and see which one is higher there, and then kind of continue the trend as needed. So with Charleston and Sioux Falls, we look at the 10,000th place and see that 3 is less than 7. So this is going to be that Charleston is smaller in population than Sioux Falls. Kansas City, we have 5 in the 10,000th place. Cape Coral, we have 7. So this is also going to be that Kansas City is less than Cape Coral. High Point is going to be 1 in the 10,000th place. Sioux Falls is 7, so Sioux Falls is significantly larger. Lafayette, we have 2 is in the 10,000th place, and then we have 3 for Charleston. All of these are less than so far. Okay. Charleston is 3, and we have Cape Coral is 7. Kansas City, there we go. I was hoping for at least 1 greater than. So we have Kansas City is going to be 5 in the 10,000th place, and then High Point is going to be 1, and then that's going to be that Kansas City is greater. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead, and as you can see, that kind of made up for a little bit of time instead of having to look at the numbers in a vertical column as they're right next to each other, allowing us to put in the inequality. So this one is going to be pretty interesting here. So what they want us to do is rank the populations. It says write the city names in order from least to greatest population. So what we want to do here is use the same strategy, but what we want to do is start off with the largest one and then go to the next largest using, you know, kind of the same strategies. If you wanted to, you can use these inequality symbols as kind of like a guide, but what we can do more directly is just compare the numbers and kind of check off each city as we use them up. Okay, so we determined that our greatest population was Cape Coral, Florida. So I'm going to start off just by checking that one off and typing it in the box below. This is from least to greatest, I'm sorry. Caught myself there. So here we're going to start with High Point, North Carolina, and work our way higher. Alright, so this is High Point, North Carolina. Okay, now we have to find the next largest city. So what we're going to do is we're going to build from 110, and we're going to keep looking in the 10,000th place to the next highest place value. So there's a 2 in Lafayette, Louisiana, so that is going to be our next one. So that's 127,000, excuse me, 657. So our next one is going to be Lafayette. Okay. Next, we're going to look for the next greatest 10,000 place value. So that's going to be the 3 in the 10,000th place of Charleston, South Carolina. Okay. And next we're going to look for the next one. So we have 1, 2, 3. There's no 4 in the 10,000th place of any of these cities, but there is a 5 in Kansas City. Okay. Okay. And I'll go to the next one. Sorry, I should be checking all these off as we use them. Okay, so we have 2 left. So we have Sioux Falls and Cape Coral, Florida. Well, we do know that Cape Coral, Florida is the highest population. So we kind of determined that in question number 2. But if this question wasn't asked before, again, we would look at both of the 7s here, but we want in this case, the smaller one in the thousands place, because we're looking for the smaller of the two because we're ranking from least to greatest. So we'll look at the thousands place and see that Sioux Falls, South Dakota has a thousands place of 1 and a 5 in the thousands place of Cape Coral, Florida. So that kind of sets in stone that Sioux Falls, South Dakota is less in population than Cape Coral, Florida. Okay, so that's again using the strategy of looking at the table and starting with your lowest point and then building, but staying in the 10,000s place to help you kind of make those processes of elimination. And if you had to eliminate further, you can go to the thousands place. Okay. Alright, let's look at the step ahead question. Look at the population table at the top of this page. Which cities have a population that is greater than 110,000 but less than 150,000? Okay, so for this question, what we're looking at specifically is this kind of situation. I'm gonna greater than 110,000 but less than 150,000. So what we're going to do more specifically in this case is we're going to, I'll use red here. Actually, I'll use purple. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at the 10,000s place again because the 100,000s place isn't specific enough, and as long as there is a value that is 1, but 1 through 5, or 1 through 4 I should say, in the 10,000s place, those are candidates that will meet our criteria here. Because if we have a 1 through, if we have a 5 in the 10,000s place, that would mean that there's no possible way for that value to be less than 150,000. Okay, so we'll look at each one and we'll decipher if it meets the criteria. So Cape Coral, Florida, we have 7 in the 10,000s place. 7 is greater than 5 in the 10,000s place, so it's too large of a number to fit our criteria. Okay, so I'll put an X here. Charleston, South Carolina, we look here, we see that the 10,000s place is a 3, so that is a 10,000s place that is greater than 1, or 1 or greater, but less than 5, so Charleston will work. So I'll put a check there for now. So for Sioux Falls, South Dakota, again, we look at the 10,000s place and we see that 7 again, so this means that there's no possible way for it to be less than 150,000 for a population, so that's not going to work. We have High Point, North Carolina, so we look at the 10,000s place and see that 1 there. So since it is at least 1, that means that the criteria for being greater than 110,000 is met, but it's also less than 150,000, so this will definitely check as well. For Kansas City, Kansas, we have that 5 in the 10,000s place, but we have to be careful here because if we go to the thousands place, I'll use yellow, we see that 1 in the thousands place is greater than 0 in this thousands place. So unfortunately, High Point, North Carolina, or Kansas City, Kansas population won't fit this criteria because it's greater than 150,000 for a population. And then this last one here, we have Lafayette, Louisiana, so that's 2 in the 10,000s place, which is going to meet our criteria that is greater than 110,000 and less than 150,000. So those 3 cities are going to work. So we have Charleston, South Carolina, High Point, North Carolina, and Lafayette, Louisiana. Okay. Alright. Alright, and that will complete our last question for this lesson. If you guys have any questions at all about any of the strategies that we took or anything like that, please don't hesitate to message me. If you have any requests for anything that is relative to this or any kind of math, I'd be more than happy to help you out. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching and take good care. We'll see you soon. Bye.